Afternoon all. Last week I put a post up on Facebook asking how far people are away from their ideal body weight. So I've got the results in front of me now, and the most common answer was 5 to 9 pounds, closely followed by 20 pounds plus. So because I got such a good response on this, I thought I'd put a video together and just sort of give you an idea of how I'd go about dieting for different amounts of weight loss. So I suppose the common theme is if you're trying to lose weight or trying to lose fat, you've got to create a calorie deficit somehow. So the big difference between losing a couple of pounds versus 20 pounds is obviously the time you allow yourself to diet for. So if we take 5 to 9 pounds, that's really interesting because that's a tricky little middle ground, because it doesn't sound like a lot. Like in most people's minds, they're thinking, diet for sort of 2 or 3 weeks and I'll blast that off. But in reality, like if you're looking at 8 or 9 pounds, I mean, me personally, I would give yourself a good couple of months to achieve that. Just so if you get there earlier, then great. But just mentally set yourself up for that, because after 2 weeks and you've only done 2 pounds, if you're thinking, oh, I should have done it by now, then you'll fall off the wagon. If you're looking at, let's say, 14 pounds or especially 20 pounds plus, the chances are that you're going to have to make some lifestyle alterations, because there's a reason why you're sitting 20, 25, 30 pounds overweight. So that's really a time where I would step back and look at everything as a whole, because it's probably not going to be one thing. You're probably going to want to change a few things. So look at portion sizes, exercise, types of food, when you're eating. Just have a look at it as a whole and be honest with yourself. I mean, can you change? It might not be huge changes, but it might just be 3 or 4 small changes across the board. And it's sort of the flip side. Like if you're sat there with in the 1 to 4 pound group, then if you're only like 2 pounds off your ideal weight, the chances are you're doing all right. You're not a million miles away. So it's literally, I'd sort of keep doing what you're doing and just tweak things slightly. It's funny, like in the gym, the people that are sort of a few pounds off, or maybe 3, 4, 5 pounds off the ideal weight, they tend to be the people that are really susceptible to like crazy crash fad diets. When really they're sort of doing the right things. It's just sort of dialing in that those last couple of pounds. But the biggest takeaway from this, I would say, is give yourself time. Roughly a pound a week. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, maybe 1 to 2 pounds a week is a good, sustainable approach, and you won't be ravenously hungry 24/7. One other thing, actually, I've just remembered. Let's say you've got 5 pounds to lose. Now, there's a big difference between losing that 5 pounds from someone who's sort of overweight going to normal, compared to someone who's already normal and they're going for lean, or from lean to very lean. So the further you go, the harder it is, the more time you might need. So if you're a guy watching this and you're sat at sort of 10% and you want to get to 8% body fat, and that might be 4 or 5 pounds, that in itself might be a couple of months of dieting to get that off. Whereas if you're sort of, say if you're obese and you want to move to like the overweight category, you might knock that 5 pounds off in a couple of weeks potentially. Bear that in mind as well. But thanks for participating in the poll. It was interesting to see. And if you've got any questions off the back of this, fire them in the comments box below. Take it easy. Have a good evening.